to We Watch Movies,
I'm Ava,
and I'm Jenna.
and we watch movies. So this week we watched Awake, which I believe came out on today. It came out on today. So if I'm getting this up on June 9th, be proud of me because I am getting my life together. But if not, don't be surprised because I'm a flake. Anyways,
You're just busy.
oh, that's the nicest thing anybody said to me. Anyways, this is basically the premise of this movie is regular life, and then all of a sudden some random thing happens, and just everybody can't sleep anymore, and nothing works. No power, just and no power and no sleep. And then everybody gets mad and angry all the time, and then they gotta save the world, and they try to figure out how to save the world, and you know, it's a pretty wild ride. Everybody loses control of themselves. All the soldiers become kill machines, and all the doctors become depressed. And then what is she, 9 years old or 10 years old or whatever, this child was just annoying, kind of, and then she was like, oh, I figured it out, and then to save the day.
Because she could sleep.
Yeah, she can sleep, by the way. I forgot to mention.
She's a special girl.
Basically, take The Last of Us, but instead of zombies, it's you just can't sleep. And instead of Ellie, we have Matilda. Oh my gosh, my dog is barking. That's fun. So this movie has currently a 41 on Rotten Tomatoes, which I'm kind of vibing with that number, to be honest.
I thought it'd be a little higher.
My issue with this movie is there's like no reprieve. It's tiring to watch, not just because everybody's tired, but partially because it doesn't make sense, but also just because, I don't know, it's like, I like it when characters are smart, and there's no physical way to be smart when you're running on no sleep for 6 days. And you know, usually, regardless of the genre of movie, usually you gotta have some, like, variety, you know? You gotta have some, like, if you're generally a sad movie, there's every once in a while, there's gotta be, like, a joke, or not even, like, a joke, but, like, you know, like, something that just makes the character smile and makes the audience smile. That didn't happen. Everything was just so pessimistic. And, like, the main character was giving up from the first, like, she wasn't giving up, like, action-wise, but she was just, everything out of her mouth was like, oh my god, I'm gonna die. Child, when I die, you need to do this. Oh my gosh, we're gonna fail. Blah, blah, blah. And I'm just like, bruh, can you not spend every 2 seconds telling your kid about how everybody's gonna die? Like, where is the morale in this movie? That was my main problem with it.
There was one funny scene that I really liked. I actually laughed, which is interesting because she's going to go into the store to get something, and she picks up a brick and she kind of hefts it a little bit, looks at the window, and then you see her glance down at the door. She just checks to see if it's open, and it is, and she kind of just the character looks at the camera, and then she just drops the brick and goes in. That was funny. I can't think of any other funny moment in this movie. Just that.
Yeah, I just... And I didn't find that part that funny. Not enough to save it.
No.
We didn't even get much of a beginning, really. It was almost immediately the problem happened. And I feel like there was just the beginning was a bit rushed, and then this guy is also like, oh, everything's accelerated, and people are having more, faster symptoms this time. And I'm like, do we need to rush this so much? Like, can we get, because, like, I mean, it's weird. Like, I mean, I feel like it would take people a little bit longer to realize that something's up and stuff, you know? And just, like, well, maybe not, like, necessarily, but you know what I mean. Like, it was just so immediate, and then immediately the government's here, everybody's freaking out, everyone's rioting, and it was, like, the day after. I feel like everybody would have just been, like, not waking up, but gotten out of bed and been like, what?
No sleep. What?
And another thing that this movie was doing that I thought was weird was, for some reason, when people weren't asleep, and I feel like it was just to show the audience that they weren't sleeping, but nobody was allowed to, like, have their eyes closed when they were just, like, laying around being exhausted. Like, if I were in this situation, I know I would be, like, lying in my bed with my eyes closed, probably crying, because that's what happens when I can't sleep. But I would not be lying with my eyes open. I would literally just be, like, motionless with my eyes closed, just chilling out. You know? I wouldn't have my eyes open. But then it's like, but then people would be like, oh my god, she's sleeping. And I'd be like, not sleeping, just trying.
Trying to trick myself.
Yeah, I mean, like, I don't know, it was just weird. It's just like everybody was shown with their eyes, like, weirdly lulled and, like, partially opened, like, in a really weird way, when they literally just could have closed their eyes. I don't know. I feel like it was just strange.
Yeah, I mean, I have the feeling, having heard you talk about this movie, that I actually enjoyed it a little more than you, which is odd coming from me. But I do agree that there were like, I'm not saying this is, like, a good movie. I just didn't dislike it. Or at least, I disliked it less than I thought I would. But I do agree that there were definitely things that they put in there that I really don't think they should have, especially with the symptoms are accelerated. Like, okay, I don't even really know, like, how fast the symptoms go anyway in the first place. Like, that was, like, a weird detail that just felt rushed. And the beginning of this movie, to go back to that point, definitely felt a little more disconnected from the rest of it, because it introduces our character and she is, like, stealing drugs so she can sell them, and, like, that never, like, really came up. Like, I know that they talked about, like, she did something in her past that, like, wasn't good, and you can kind of infer what it was, but I feel like her doing that didn't really have any bearing on who she was in the rest of the movie, if that makes sense.
Yeah, like, I mean, they tried to shoehorn in this backstory for her that didn't affect anything. I totally agree with you there. And it's like they just wanted her to have this connection to these government people, and they were like, oh, but they did something bad. And it's like, I don't know, I just feel like everything was so basic. Like, they were like, oh, this person did something bad. Character flaw. This is a teenage boy, he's angsty. Oh my gosh, guess what? People go crazy when they don't have sleep. I don't know. I mean, it felt in some parts kind of purgy to me. But, like, even that, I don't know, it just... There were just parts of it that just didn't feel like a cohesive story. I didn't think that, like, these random pods of thrills or scares, like when they're driving and there's suddenly this random thing that just attacks them for no reason. Like, it has no bearing on the story, they just get attacked. Like, I mean, I know that people are sleep deprived, but I'm not sure they would necessarily form cults. I mean, not that I've been sleep deprived for 6 days, but I feel like they wouldn't start burning people at the stake or, like, hanging them upside down and building... Like, what's the point of trying to, like, grab people out of a car? Like, that just doesn't make sense, and it doesn't have any connection to the story, you know? And, like, and then there's the whole Dodge character, who I don't know if we needed him. Like, I mean, I liked him. I liked him as a character. I just don't think he was necessary. You know?
Or if they were going to keep him, actually, like, use him as a character and, like, not just get rid of him at the end in, like, the most, like, quiet way possible. Like, come on.
Literally.
Well, what was the point of that?
I know, and like, when they got to the hub, he's, like, driving away to go do whatever. And then all of a sudden he's back, and they don't explain why he came back. Yeah. And they don't explain why he was in prison. They don't explain why he's this actually, like, misunderstood guy. Like, we don't get any thought into, like, any of it. We, like, the only development we get on Noah, for instance, as to why he's so angsty is that he hasn't, like, you know? And...
That's a way of putting it, Ava.
He's having a little bit of issues with his ex-girlfriend. That's all. And he's just like, and he has abandonment issues. That's literally it. But like, I don't know, what are we supposed to do with that? It's not like it's a new character idea. And then, like, what? Jill is just... First of all, the names. I didn't like any of the names, but that's besides the point. But Jill is over here being like, oh, I used to do drugs and sell drugs, and I kind of still do, but I have kids, and now I need to save the world. But not actually. I just want to die and let my kid live. That's it. That's all I want to do. I just want to die. That's it. I'm like, bruh. I mean, Gina Rodriguez, I think, is a great actress. I love her in Jane the Virgin. The only other thing I've actually seen her in is Miss Bala, I believe it was called. And I remember liking that movie, I think. I don't really... it's not a super memorable movie, but I saw it in theaters, so I remember seeing it. But I love her from Jane the Virgin, and she was really great in that. But then I feel like... I don't know. Actually, I probably didn't like Miss Bala because I just checked the score and it's 21%. But anyways, no, I think she's a good actress, but I think this was just a sucky character, man. I think she can do better. I think she's done a lot better. And like, and then we got this Shamir Anderson person from Stowaway. And I think Stowaway was a great movie, and I think he did a great job in that movie. I just think that this movie's lame. And,
you see, I kind of thought that about Stowaway, though, so...
Okay, but, like... I didn't like a lot of things about Stowaway, and I liked a lot of things about Stowaway. But I think that Stowaway stands out a bit more in terms of just thinking about why things happen and explaining things and giving reasons behind what's happening. Like, this movie that we, like, Awake is just, there's this premise, oh, all of a sudden, no technology works and nobody can sleep. And it's explained, like, a tiny bit in, like, a line and a half. This lady just goes, oh, it was a solar flare, we think it messed up our, electromagnetic waves, or I don't know what she said. It was just some random thing. And I don't know if it has any truth behind it, like, in the real world, if that could happen. Like, if there's any, like, basis, any scientific basis on what she said. But, like... It's just such a shoddy excuse, and nobody explains why when people, spoiler alert, why when people die and come back to life, they can, suddenly sleep again. Nobody explains that. And, like, it's just all of this stuff. There's no explanations. And I'm like, well, that's dumb. What? And I feel, because there was a lot of explaining, I think, in Stowaway. Like, you understood what was happening, you kind of knew why characters were doing what they were doing. And then you just, over here, you have Jill, who's like, no! kid must go try to live by self because I don't want to save the world. I mean, I get that it's her kid and that they were probably gonna do weird things to her or whatever, but also it's like she would not survive without her. Like, we know it. No matter how many times you try to tell her to use a gun, she would not survive, okay?
Yeah, and I mean, I definitely agree. I think I said this earlier, but like, Awake is not a good movie, but I mean, I still didn't hate it, and it might just be personal preference too. I like stories that kind of have a structure of like, people need to kind of just like go on, for lack of a better term, a road trip in apocalyptic conditions. It is very Last of Us-y, but just much inferior to The Last of Us. And I feel like it could have been better if they actually put more thought into the script and why certain things are happening, and giving like the characters more depth than just the overall story, more than just, yo, what if no one can sleep? Like, just a little more than that, because they definitely had a good, intriguing basis that they didn't really do anything else with.
Yeah, like, I feel like there is so much more that could have been done with this concept, because it is a cool concept. Like, you could do a lot with it. It's just, I don't know, like, she mentioned the thing about sleep deprivation as a form of torture that the military used. That would be a cooler movie than this. Like, following a character who was, like, captured and is being tortured via sleep deprivation. I would rather watch that movie than this one.
Yeah, that would be an interesting movie to see, especially because, like, if you want to get into, like, what's actually happening, and yeah, like, there are a whole lot of different ways you could take that angle, and that kind of wouldn't be a movie that we've really seen-ish before. This one, like, the structure is very similar to other things, and I feel like it was pretty generic beyond the actual plot that they had. But yeah, I agree. They could have done other things.
Yeah, and I mean, I get that, like, family is a universal story, so it appeals to a lot of people, but just, like, your character motivation being mom wants to protect daughter, or something along those lines, is just kind of lame. Like, I feel like there are so many other things that would be more interesting. It would have been more interesting if this kid had to team up with a person who could also sleep, and that was the thing. Because then you could get some banter at least. Oh my god. Or, like, I don't know, if it was somebody with, I mean, I don't want to pull out anything similar to Enemies to Lovers right now, but, like, if it was somebody with somebody that they hated and they had to transport them because they would, like, if it wasn't her mom and it was actually just, like, she was older and it was somebody who didn't like her or something, or somebody who begrudgingly took on the task and then kind of warmed up to her and was like, oh, I actually want to save you, kind of. Like, that's what happens in Last of Us, I believe, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, like, that works a lot better than this, I think. Because, like, if your character motivation can be explained away by just, like, every human's basic instinct, it's kind of boring. You know, there's got to be another factor that's motivating this person. Like, if your character like, if your thing is, oh, character wants to get food because character needs to eat to survive. It's kind of lame, because every character needs to eat to survive. I mean, it can work in, like, some scenarios, but I feel like there are other ways you can take it. Like, you could be like, character wants to get food because character, I don't know, I need to think about it. It might be a bad example, but, like, you know what I mean.
Yeah, like, basic instinct as, like, a character motivation only gets you so far. Say, like, you open the movie with something and character is like, well, I need to find food. You're like, yeah, okay, sure, movie just started, bad things happen, you need that. But then if you go throughout the whole movie and all they're doing is finding food, that's not very interesting, because at one point you're like, well, okay, what's happening with this character beyond, like, basic survival? Like, the things we're intrigued by are not always just basic survival, it's the things happening inside of them. But then, like, say, in the middle of the movie, it's like, okay, well, I need to find food because, like, I need to find the food for this person that I've kind of taken on, that I'm starting to, like, begrudgingly, like, come to enjoy their company with. Like, that starts to get more interesting, and it's that development of a relationship. And this movie was kind of just driven by, like, kind of a basic plot device that, like, was never really questioned or made very interesting or intriguing. It didn't really evolve at all.
You know what? I think this might make me a bad person, but you know what I think would have been really interesting?
What?
Maybe say they got to the hub a little bit earlier in the story, and instead of just utter chaos ensuing, say, like, Dr. Murphy was like, okay, we need to, I think this also kind of happened in The Last of Us, but, like, something like, oh, we need to do this thing to get more tests done on your daughter that could save the entire world, but it will kill her or something. And then, like, it would have been interesting. Yeah, I know, but if there was some sort of scenario in which this girl needed to die, and the mom this whole time was like, no, but then this mom is like, actually, like, wait, I kind of want to kill her now. Like, that would have been interesting. I mean, not saying that she would go through with it or something, but if she started thinking not so selflessly, like, if there was some selfishness in this character at some point in time, rather than always like, oh, I'll go ahead, you stay here. If I die, you have food and you gotta use your gun. You gotta suck on that gasoline and stuff. But, like, you know, I feel like she was too selfless because they really leaned into this mother angle, but we know that she's not always a good person. So if we got some of those, like if we got some, like, oh, maybe we should put this child in danger to save myself or something, I feel like that would have been interesting.
Yeah, and it's always interesting to kind of see, like, a character begin to doubt themselves, or see a character that we're kind of supposed to not question them and what they're doing, and then, like, you start seeing things you're doing and things that, like, they're starting to do, and kind of the audience and the main character diverging on what they agree upon. That's always a really interesting dynamic. Even if it's not done super well, it's still interesting to see how it's being done. So, like, you can't go super wrong with it.
Yeah, like, I mean, I want a character that challenges its moral compass, you know? Like, in times of desperation, that's what happens to people. Like, every person in the world, when they're desperate, will maybe challenge their own morals, you know? And it's just like a thing. And I feel like it's not realistic to have a scenario in which everybody in the world is losing their minds and going around and killing people and everything. But these 4 humans, for some reason, well, actually no, 3, because I'm not going to count the kid who can sleep. These 3 people, for some reason, are able to stick to basic human morality the entire time. Doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah, like, and maybe one, like, I don't really know how Dodge would fit into this, but, like, maybe part of it could be, like, because they were a family, like, sticking together, like, they kind of had that constant, like, reminder of, like, oh, that, like, I can't lose my mind yet because of that. But even then, like, if your brain is, like, shutting down and not functioning properly, it's not really gonna work out for you, you know? So,
yeah, and I mean,
yeah, I definitely agree.
Yeah, like, the only conflict between any of them was in a hallucination, which is a cop-out.
Yeah. And it's not even, like, a convincing hallucination. Like, you know it's not real.
Like, because obviously he would be handcuffed too, and it just, like, doesn't make sense. And then their desperate attempt to, like, kill the kid and then bring him back to life so that that's what does it, that's why he can sleep, is just he's just like randomly sitting on the floor and just randomly cuts a cord. Like, I mean, I get it that they're getting stupider the more tired that they are, but like, that's a bit much. And it doesn't. Well, yeah, but like, still, it just seemed like a really stupid way to kill him.
Yeah, I mean, there was so much, like, death and destruction going on, and he dies because he's hallucinating, and he cuts into a wire. Like, you couldn't have done anything else.
I feel like they took the easy way on everything in this entire story. Everything was so easy and so difficult, but they made the difficult stuff easy, like, in their explanations and stuff, and it just annoys me because it's an interesting concept and it looked so good on the trailer, but then it was just so disappointing, and I'm just sad about it because I wanted it to be good.
You see, I didn't have any expectations going into this movie. I knew what it was about, but I didn't watch the trailer. Like, we stay on this little recording once we finish, like, actually recording, and we will figure out what movie we watch. And Ava always plays the trailer, but I can't see it. I can only hear the trailer, so I didn't really know what was happening. So I think part of it, too, is I had zero expectations for this movie, so I can't really be disappointed, which is nice.
See, they had this interesting format in the trailer too, though, that like went through the different stages of sleep deprivation, and it was like day 1, loss of mental function, or I don't know. It was like day 6, hallucinations, and then it like ended and stuff. And it was like, that would have been an interesting way to format the movie too. That might keep you more engaged too. They didn't do that in the actual movie. And they made Brian
keep track of how long their journey was. They'd be like, "Oh, I haven't slept in 4 days," and I was like, "What? It's been 4 days?"
Literally. That didn't.
Like, if you're going to build a ticking time bomb into the narrative of your movie, that is your like main source of constant tension, but then you neglect it in a way so that the audience can't actually feel that tension themselves, you're doing it wrong.
Literally. And like because I swear it was only nighttime like 3 times throughout the movie.
Yeah, like
maybe
through
4.
the character actions you can kind of see how far like their health and mental health is like digressed, but still, like, even then I was like, you seem okay still? And it was especially hard when all of these super sleep-deprived people have, like, more energy than I do when I actually get, like, 8-7 hours of sleep in a night. Like, these people were, like, out there starting cults, burning things, like, killing people, like... Wow.
Okay, according to Healthline.com, the longest recorded time without sleep is approximately 264 hours, or just over 11 consecutive days. Although it's unclear how long exactly humans can survive without sleep, it isn't long before the effects of sleep deprivation start to show. After only 3 or 4 nights without sleep, you can start to hallucinate. So they kept the hallucinations until like night 6, and they were like having her die at like night 6, I think. Wasn't it like 6 days?
Yeah, it was like 6, maybe 7, pushing it.
Yeah, something like that. I don't exactly know how many days it was, because I was annoyed at this movie, so I wasn't paying much attention to the timeline. But you know who could have helped the timeline? The Brian character. He was a bigger part of the trailer than he was in the movie. Because he was there to explain the science behind it and stuff. And then they just killed him, which I thought that was interesting. I thought that was okay. I didn't mind that.
I saw it coming as soon as he walked into that church, but I was okay with it.
I thought they were gonna keep doing stuff that was surprising like that, but then everything after that was like surprising was just annoying and pointless. But like, because if they kept up that kind of style, I would have liked it more, I think. like if the actions that were supposed to be surprising had more weight, you know. But I don't know. And then Brian, he could have been useful to be like, oh, it's been like 4 days, probably can't make it that much longer, we got these symptoms, and then he could have been, I don't know, I feel like he could have been useful in keeping a pace like that, though. And
yeah.
I don't know, man. I don't know.
And, like, if you wanted, like, you could have kept him around a little longer and then replaced him with Dodge, like give us, like, a little bit without him, and then, like, Dodge comes in to kind of fill in that, like, fourth character, because in the beginning you have the grandma, or whoever that character was, and then she kind of dips off because they leave her at the church. At the same time that, like, Brian dies. But it would have been interesting if, instead of killing Brian, he kind of, like, runs off with them, like, hey, you're gonna need my help to get to this place. I don't know.
I think that, yeah, that would be good. I don't know, I'm just, talking about this movie is making me tired. Bro, I watched this movie, and then I tried to have a nap because I was tired, and I couldn't fall asleep. And I was like, excuse you, movie. What the hecking heck is this heck? You know? I was like, bruh, this is just not okay. I mean, how can a movie be so tiring, but also so viciously annoying that I can't sleep after it, you know? It was just bugging my brain. I was like, they didn't explain nothing to me, and I don't understand it, and I can't reason around it, and I couldn't take my nap.
You know, I haven't tried sleeping yet.
Bum bum bum!
Watch, we're gonna start a vlog series called We Can't Sleep, It's Literally Awake.
Oh my god. No, but like, I mean, we've been talking about The Last of Us a lot, and I'm just, like, I remember I texted you, I was like, this would be so much better if it were a video game. Unfortunately, it already is a video game. But like,
what?
I mean...
Just continue.
Oh, okay. It would have been a better video game. This and Army of the Dead would have been better as video games. I feel like there are a lot of things that'd be really cool as both movies and video games. Some of them would just translate better into video games. And this is one that would especially translate just better into a video game.
Yeah, it felt like it was made like one because they used a lot of long takes, and just the structure of this movie was, like, I don't want to say rigid, but it was, like, very formulaic in, here's the scene where the main character has an objective and she does it. Okay, the next scene is she's talking with a bunch of people, that's her cutscene, something interrupts the cutscene, and now she has another objective that she has to complete. Like, I really think it would have worked well, and you could also have the different, like, day 1, day 2, day 3 type deal. Especially because your character can't sleep.
Yeah.
So, I don't know.
You know what I was thinking while I was watching it that I thought would be a really cool way to do this, that would have been more interesting? Because I was like, this movie is so tiring, but I was like, what if this movie, like, had efforts to make the audience feel like they were sleep deprived? Like, I mean, it would be confusing as heck, but, like, sometimes just have the character say something that just doesn't make sense. But, like, I've seen, like, not necessarily gibberish, but, like, just, like, I've seen, like, on TikTok, there will be people who, like, wake up their roommate or something, and just, like, the minute that they wake up, they're like, the elephants escaped the refrigerator. And then the person's just like, what? But, like, not even just that, like, you could have, like, parts of the scenes could be, like, focused weirdly. Or, like, there could be just, like, random things in the backgrounds of scenes that aren't actually there, but they're showing it to you like a hallucination. Just stuff that could have been interesting things. So if they had a cooler plot and they did like these really cool things, I mean, it probably would have been difficult to make it through a longer version of this movie if you did that. But I feel like since it was already kind of short, that could work. It would remind me of like, there was this part in one of the Series of Unfortunate Events books that was like, oh, Klaus was so tired that he felt like he was repeating the same line. It was because he was reading a book, and then they took that line and they repeated it several times, and it was so confusing to me as I was reading it because I thought I was repeating the same line, and I was like, whoa, that's crazy, man. And like, I feel like there are ways to be more creative with the filmmaking of a thing like this to make it more immersive that could have been really cool. It would have been more risky, I guess. But and I mean we all know that this movie doesn't really want to take risks, so I don't know, but I feel like they could have pulled it off with just stuff.
Yeah, and I mean, now that we've gotten the risk-free version of the movie and that didn't work, it would be interesting to see like what you could do with it. And
Snyder
to go
cut.
back to oh my god, no, stop it. If that's a rising
6
trend,
hours of awake.
yeah, and even to go to like the video game thing, it would be really interesting to see because you could have the controls stop working, or like you hit one button to do something and the character does the other thing because you're sleep deprived, you're not really working correctly. If there was like a memory puzzle, you could have like the game could show you one thing and you're like, okay, I remember what it is, go to the thing and do it, and then it's wrong because like the character like didn't show it to the audience correctly, or just, I don't know, I think there could be fun ways. I'm still on the video game thing. I've been thinking about it since you told me that.
Yeah, I mean, there are so many creative directions to take sleep deprivation in, because it's not an explored topic it's not a widely explored topic in like entertainment media, and so I feel like it's just the kind of thing that if you're gonna tell a good story about it, because I mean it is an interesting topic, but like if you're just like, oh, character gets really tired, that's not a plot. And I mean, there are different ways that you can make a basic plot around that and bolster it with like creativity stuff. But like, if you're, I don't know how to put this. There are better ways that they could have done it that wouldn't have made it boring, and it was boring the way that it was made.
Yeah. Like, I don't know, show me a character that is so sleep deprived that they cannot tell the difference between their reality and a living nightmare from hallucinations. Like, if you want to go that hard on something, I want to see it.
There was something like that in Supernatural. There's a lot of things kind of similar to this on Supernatural. There was this episode where one of the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse, it was war, made these people in this town. They split them up into 2 groups, and then one group would see the other group as demons, but neither of them were demons. And so they started fighting each other because they thought they were each demons. But then there was another episode where this one character, he went to hell and he came back. But in hell, he spent a lot of time with Lucifer. And then, like, when he's, like, in the real world, he sees Lucifer everywhere. Just, like, in real life. And Lucifer's like, oh, you never actually left hell. I'm just pretending that you did to pull back the veil and torture you. And then he's like, no, this isn't real. But then he's like, but is it real? And then, like, there's this other part where it's like, they have this virus thing that just makes people angry, and it's spread through blood or whatever, and it's kind of similar with how everybody went kind of rabid, in this movie, and it's like it's a bunch of stuff that this movie kind of did that Supernatural did better, And yeah, so basically instead of watching Awake, you can just watch every season of Supernatural. Or those 3 episodes. Well, actually, there's more than 3 episodes like that. Anyways.
Huh. So if Awake happened right now and you were like, it's been my life dream to watch all of Supernatural, but marathon it, there you go. Except the power doesn't work, so you might have a problem there.
I wouldn't think that would be my go-to. I think I would marathon the MCU instead. Because Supernatural might be a bit long for that, Just like
you might be pushing it.
That would be like 15 days or so. Like, I mean, not quite, because each episode was like 40 something minutes. So it would be, but I feel like it would definitely be over 10, right? I feel like maybe over 10 days. And if these people only had 6 days, no, you can't do that. But I think the MCU, well, actually at this point it's probably around the same length. Maybe, I don't know. 1 second. Let me just check. Oh, I got a voicemail. How long is the entire MCU? Was that thunder?
Did you hear that on your end or through my end?
I heard that through you.
Oh, you did?
Oh, I just heard the thunder. Whoa! That's crazy.
Thunder. I heard a rumble earlier, but it wasn't that loud. I thought the light in my room went weird because that's been happening. Like there was a little bit of lightning. I saw it, and I was like, "Did my light just flash on suddenly?" But nope, that was thunder.
You don't live that far from me, and you have a delay over the internet too, and that was weird because yours came through so much faster than mine.
I didn't hear it on your end. I just heard your dogs barking.
Mm-hmm. Oh, 50 hours, by the way. As of March 25th. Yeah. It'd be 3,015 minutes. 2 days and 2 hours.
To marathon.
Wow. To marathon the whole MCU. 2 days and 2 hours.
Wow.
But I don't know if that includes the TV shows or not. No, that's just movies up to Endgame. So that doesn't even include Far From Home.
Far From Home confirmed to not be part of the MCU. Just kidding, it's just as of March. Whatever.
But actually, Jenna, the Sony Marvel deal, that made me really happy. That means that the Spider-Man movies might end up on Disney Plus kind of soonish, and also means that that Spider-Man's gonna stay in the MCU for a little bit longer, and that also they might be able to connect somehow that Spider-Man with like the Sony Spider-Man movies, like the villain ones that they're doing, like Venom, and like how Morbius, the trailer at the end of it has Michael Keaton, like the guy who played Vulture in Homecoming, and he hasn't come back yet, which was teased in the end credit scene of Homecoming. So they might have a crossover, which would be really cool, because also the Morbius trailer has a little Easter egg in the form of graffiti that seems to reflect a certain end credit scene of Far From Home, and so there might be a crossover, maybe someday, hopefully, kind of, maybe I'm getting my hopes up, but anyways, I think that yes, he is part of the MCU. Thank you for asking.
Well, wow, that was a lot of effort to put into a joke, but okay.
My dogs are so loud.
Your dog should be on the podcast one day.
I think they already are. They just don't
gotta formally introduce them.
Well, that one that was really loud, the one that sounds like the higher voice, that one, his name is Uzi. He's this big man on campus. And he has the highest bark of all of our dogs, including the puppy. The puppy's bark is lower than his. And then that low one is that you may have heard was Martensa. She is the second youngest. And I don't know if the other ones were barking at the moment that you could have heard them. They are pleased to make your acquaintance.
Pleased to make theirs as well. Oh, there is a super dark cloud coming my way.
Oh, it's gonna all of a sudden be nighttime, and we're not gonna be able to sleep.
Just gonna have to stay up all night before our tests tomorrow.
Oh my god, don't even remind me. I have a performance task in chemistry, and a test in pre-calc, and then Forrest Gump and A-Push.
That's not stressful though.
Yeah, it's not. And then we're recording things in chorus. I got to sleep. I can't have eye bags in the video, man. That's the only part of my face. Well, actually, no, because we might be able to film without our masks on if we're outside. I don't know. We shall see. I don't know what we're doing. But that's not relevant to this movie. And you know, I was wondering, Jenna, because I have no recollection of any of it. Was there good music in this movie?
I don't think the music was necessarily stand out. It wasn't bad by any means. It reminded me more of like a cyberpunk soundtrack. Like not like super heavily, but it definitely sounded like a little more science fiction than it actually was. But I mean, I think it definitely fit the tone. It wasn't special. It didn't stand out to me, but you know, it worked.
Another thing I forgot to ask you at the beginning of this, which I always ask you to start it out, Jenna, what were your initial reactions?
Well, I can't remember how the movie opened, which might be alarming, but I mean, I enjoyed it. It was not amazing. They definitely could have fleshed things out more, done a little more with the actual plot, but I mean, I guess I was just in a good mood today because I didn't super dislike it. It was fine.
Yeah, I feel like normally when we disagree on movies, I'm the one who likes it more than you. But I feel like there's got to have been another movie where I didn't like it as much as you did.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like there was, but I can't really remember.
Was it The Life Ahead?
I thought we both kind of liked that.
I kind of liked it, but I also thought it was kind of boring.
Oh, then maybe it was that, because I enjoyed it.
Because I remember you really liking that one, and then I just kind of liked it. I don't know.
Yeah, it happens.
But then, like, the ones that I liked that you didn't, like, I liked Stowaway and you didn't. What other ones? There were other ones. I don't know.
Nobody Sleeps in the Woods Tonight. I don't think you necessarily liked it, but I despised that movie. So there was still that gap.
Me texting you today, you know what would have fixed this movie? A prostitute on a bike.
Honestly, that can fix any movie.
Oh my gosh. Okay, my texts for this one were pretty great. I like how all the soldiers got violent and the doctors just got depressed, which you didn't care. You didn't care about that message. Ooh.
I didn't know how to respond to it, so I didn't.
I like the part where I just go, man, there is zero humor in this movie, and you respond with, there was the door brick bit, and then I responded with, okay, there was 0.01 humor in this movie. I'm sorry, that was a big sticking point for this. I feel like this could have been a lot, like, elevated a lot if there was just some witty lines delivered by some of the characters. Like, if the characters just weren't dumb the whole time. And that was kind of part of it, but, like, still.
Yeah, even if it wasn't necessarily funny, have, like, an uplifting moment between some of the characters, or, like, do something with the Dodge that isn't just him being, like, there in the background for most of it, you know? Like, instead of focusing on, like, this random group of people that attacks the car, maybe give them all, like, a chance to actually talk and, like, be a family.
Yeah, like, just give me a reason to care about these people, because I didn't.
I wanted to care about them, but I was like, you guys are just pretty generic.
Like, especially the child. I did not care about the child. I was like, this child is annoying to look at. You can cut her head open if you need to. I didn't care. I mean, I should have cared. That might just be because I'm a bad person, but I didn't care about her. I didn't care about Noah, and I didn't care about anybody, really. I didn't care about any of them.
Yeah.
Wait, plot hole! Plot hole! Oh my god, they tried to use it as foreshadowing. They were telling the kid, oh, I used to be a drug addict and my heart stopped and then they brought me back to life. Why couldn't he sleep?
No, I think it had to be, like, in the same, like, it might have been too long ago, you know?
Oh, that's stupid. That's really dumb. I guess they just wanted only a few people to be awake. But even then, do you know how many people get their hearts restarted every day? It's gotta be a ton.
Well, no, because she only got resuscitated after it happened. And that lady, they said, like, oh, I was supposed to be dead, like, months ago. It's very well possible, like, she died and got brought back, or, like, something happened to her.
I don't get it. They didn't explain any of that. Anyways.
Yeah, we got zero explanation. Which, like, why? We just got, like, a fun little shot of, like, her eye at the end as she's being resuscitated, and it's like, oh, you wanted answers? No.
Yeah, I'm so done with this movie, to be honest. I was disappointed. My disappointment is immeasurable, and my day is ruined. I don't know what that quote is. Just somebody in our Latin class says it a lot.
Yeah,
it's
what
from
is
something.
that
I don't know what
from?
it's from.
I'm looking it up.
Anyways, guys, this was a great episode of talking to you guys and telling you all about how boring this movie was and how Jenna actually liked it. Anyways, thank you for listening. If you're listening on YouTube, like, comment, and subscribe. Share with your friends. If you're listening on something else, you can probably follow us on there. You can also still share with your friends. We love you. Thank you so much for listening. If you want to come back to our YouTube channel this weekend, Jenna's gonna give you a video. I believe it's on Sweet Tooth, right?
It will probably be on Sweet Tooth. Let's see if I actually finish it by Saturday.
She will probably have a video on Sweet Tooth. If it's not on Sweet Tooth, it'll be on something else. But you'll get to see Jenna's lovely face this weekend. If you subscribe and come, or even if you just like come and see if you want to subscribe. We're a very welcoming bunch here.
Please watch my videos. No one watches them. It's special.
That's not true. People watch your videos.
Like, 4 people watch my videos.
Your last video, let me see if the app will load. You got a bunch of comments on your last video, didn't you?
I did. I try to get notifications, and then they never come in.
Oh no, not your last video. It was
Okay.
Oh, it was your Netflix watch list. You got 7 comments.
Yeah, I don't know how I got that many comments on that video, of all things.
Well, 2 of them were our friends from school. 2 of them were me, and 1 of them was my mom.
Still, though, that's way more than normal.
And, then there was, I replied to our 2 friends on your behalf.
Oh, lightning.
But you got, oh my gosh. Anyways, guys, I think we should end this here before before we go to Oz. So thank you guys for listening. We'll see you next week. Jenna, anything to add?
Get a good night's sleep. I felt like I was being called out on 24/7 in this movie because they were talking about, like, no one could sleep, like, yeah, I feel a little called out, Netflix, not gonna lie. So, sleep tonight, or tomorrow, whenever you listen to this, get some sleep. It's important.
Okay, bye!